Kieron, my friend, welcome and thank you for giving up some of your time today to do this with me. Happy New Year.
Did he? Yeah.
Yeah. How was your Christmas? Good?
Oh, yeah, very good. Good. Very much needed rest. It's time to just chill. So yeah, all good. All good.
Nice, man. Nice. I appreciate it. As I mentioned to you, the purpose of today, to be honest with you, Kieran, is to just find out a bit more about yourself, find out sort of how the program benefited you, in the hope that other people can see part of themselves in your story and maybe they reach out and ask for some support. So, yeah, as I said, thanks very much for this. I won't keep you for too long. So, if it's all right with you, we'll dive on straight into the questions. Perfect. Amazing. So, yeah, let's cast your mind back to a few months back when yeah, let's look at before you started working with me. Why don't you explain to me and to anybody who's watching what your life was like before we actually did some work together?
My life before I met you came on the self-sabotage course was quite chaotic. I was repeatedly self-sabotaging my life in different ways, primarily in my relationships. And then, long story short, I turned 40 over the summer. And there was a bit of an incident after my 40th birthday party, which I had contributed to massively and ended up hurting a lot of people and ultimately hurting myself. And it was just at that point where I was just like, I can't carry on living life like this one, constantly self-sabotaging my relationships, hurting people, and as I said, myself. And I just didn't like how my 40s were starting.
Hmm.
So I was on Instagram one day and I came across a couple of your Instagram posts, and I was just like, this guy is saying things that is really hitting my core, which I could resonate with. And then yeah, we had the conversation, and so said, so done. I got involved with the self sabotage course.
Yeah, absolutely. And you'll know yourself from working with me now and going through the program and speaking with everyone inside of the community. The reason I do this is because it was me, a long time ago. I used to repeat those patterns of behavior, hurt people around me, hurt myself, and yeah, it can be a very dangerous place to be. So I'm curious to know then, of course, you've seen my content. What was it? Because usually there's a catalyst. I know you mentioned the issue on
Mhm.
the 40th. But what made you reach out? What was the turning point where you're like, enough's enough. I'm going to give this a go.
Yeah, like I said, like what went down after my 40th birthday party was primarily down to me.
Yeah.
As a result of that, it brought up an array of different feelings and emotions. And I was just like, am I really starting my 40s like this? Like I've got to do better. But I didn't know how to do better. And that's why I said like when it was just I don't believe I would I say it was chance? No, I don't think it was chance. And I don't think it was coincidence. I do believe that me stumbling across your post on Instagram was the thing, the catalyst for me to sort of say, look, there's a problem here. The problem's been going on for decades. Let's
Hmm.
go and figure it out. Let's get to the bottom of it. So I think yeah, that was the turning point. That was the turning point.
Mm. Yeah, and I appreciate you being open and honest and vulnerable because, I like to I like to use the analogy of a toothache. Self-sabotage is very much similar to a toothache. You might have a bit of a pain in January, it might be a bit niggling. February, March comes and it's hurting a lot more, and you're like, oh, it's fine, I'll go and see the dentist soon. I'll see the dentist soon. And then, August, September comes around, and you're in so much pain, you finally go to the dentist. And because you've left it for so long, the dentist's like, sorry, we've got to remove the tooth. And you mentioned it's been going on for decades. So yeah, I appreciate that vulnerability. And I think for me, hearing your story, and I'll share this with you. I don't think I've shared this with you since we've worked together. This is the first time, but there's been people inside of the program that resonate with your story and resonate with what you've shared. So because you've been vulnerable, because you've opened up and you've shared what you've been through, it's also enabled other people to know that change is possible. So I just want to thank you for that first and foremost. It's been a pleasure working with you, and yeah, I know that this person would never have shared this with you. So I won't tell you who it is because they asked to remain anonymous, but thought you might like that.
Thank you.
Um, no problem at all. What would you say then? Of course, you and I have worked together for a few months now.
Yeah.
What would you say has been the most valuable process of the program. Because of course we have the recognize phase, we have the restructure phase, and then we have the redesign phase. What would you say has been the most valuable to you personally?
I think there was two things that stuck out for me in my individual journey. So I
Mhm.
think going through all those stages, I always thought I was self-sabotaging in just my relationships. But as more and more I did the course, I realized that I was self-sabotaging in other aspects of my life, whether it was my weight, debt, even my career. So, staying in relationships longer than I needed to. I was doing that with like jobs that I was unhappy with, and as a result, self-sabotage behavior would become apparent
Mhm.
and and then I think the second thing which stood out for me was the community in the sense of everyone being on Slack and being able to share their journeys. And because I think sometimes when you do a course like this, you might think, well, it's just me that's going through I'm going through this, but there are other people who are going through it, and hearing their stories or things they've gone through puts you at ease because you're just thinking, oh, it's not just me that's gone through this, and it's not just me that wants to do something about it to make it better. So I think those were the two kind of pivotal things that I took from the course.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love the community, and you know this, I said this before the call as well. I'm very biased. I think the community is great. Of course, I'm biased. It's my program, but at the end of the day, the proof's in the pudding.
Yeah.
And hearing people like yourself sharing things like this, there's been plenty of other clients that have mentioned that the Slack community is great because, you know, it's not sexy. The work we do, it's not very sexy. It's not attractive. And knowing that there's that supportive community there to lean on in times of need, yeah, is really helpful. So thanks for sharing that. Means a lot. The only other question I have really is, we have over 40 clients inside the program at the moment. And you know yourself, I speak to a lot of people on a regular basis. People who are a bit sort of hesitant and apprehensive of, taking a chance on themselves, on myself, and on the program. So you have now gone through the program. You have stopped beating yourself up for past mistakes. You've learned how to end self-sabotaging tendencies. You've figured out what your self-sabotaging triggers are. What sort of advice would you give to somebody who wants to go through the transformation that you've gone through, but is a bit apprehensive of working with perhaps myself or another coach?
I think it's that Old Testament, literally invest in yourself. Don't let it get to a point like with me where you have this kind of car crash moment and everything is just breaking down in front of you or within you, and you just feel like you're just getting the hole getting deeper and deeper and deeper. So yeah, invest in yourself before it gets to that point. Because I just feel like had I invested in myself maybe a couple of years earlier, I don't know. I feel like I might have been further, but you know what, Sean? Nothing before it's time. When things are supposed to happen, they will happen. And I think
Mhm.
being on this course was testament to that.
Excellent. Yeah, it's nice to hear things like that, man. It just, I've of course spent years trying to build a program out that helps people, gets people results. I think there's so many people out there that beat themselves up for the past mistakes, and those past mistakes are a result of their self-sabotage and sort of tendencies and triggers. So it really is a pleasure to do this work and hearing stories like yourself, man. Yeah, it means a lot. It really does from the bottom of my heart. So, Kieran, that's everything, my friend. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your time off. Have a fabulous 2024. And as you know, my friend, anything you need, I'm only ever a message away. Thanks again.
Enjoy it. Appreciate you, man. Take it
Take
easy.
care.